Now, for something really honestly new and kind of exciting, we got Karie Bible joining us here on the Movie Club. Welcome, Karie. You're a reviewer for FilmRadar.com, yes?
Yes, I run FilmRadar.com.
You run, you just don't review it. You're like in charge of this thing.
I'm a one-woman band.
We are talking about, first up, Bewitched. Let's talk about this. We got a movie, we've had Star Wars, we've had Batman, we've had a lot of big muscular films out. Now something a little, it feels like going in, but is there an audience for something a little lighter this summer?
Absolutely. I think there's a great audience of women that are really going to enjoy this film because, as you said, we've had a summer filled with, you know, action extravaganzas. I think that women will want to take their girlfriends or have a girls' night out and go see this movie. I think
or date night.
I think female audiences will fall under its spell. It's fun, it's entertaining, it's great counter programming. 2.5 stars.
Why are we limiting it to females, though?
Because that's what women like.
I imagine that a lot of men are going to be into this movie.
Now we're going to go on to a movie. Okay, now we're talking. Herbie, Fully Loaded. Lindsay Lohan.
In this one, the car overreacts. I mean, the fenders are going up and down, the lights are going back and forth, it's squirting oil on people. That's not.
Are you
that's
accusing
really
the car of overacting?
The car's always overact.
The car should get a raspberry.
I honestly think that this kids will like this movie. As for adults, I live in a very old home that does not happen to have air conditioning. So for me, it was a chance to sit in a darkened room with air conditioning for 2 hours, and that's not necessarily for me a bad thing.
So you actually want it to be longer.
Kids will like this movie, though.
Wait a second, when we talk about
girls
kids liking movies now, you know, I took my son, we saw Racing Stripes, and he enjoyed it. But also, you go to The Incredibles, and everybody enjoys it. I I don't like the idea that, well, it's, you know, it's just good enough for kids.
It's neither
when
here nor
clearly
there.
You can make movies not only for kids, adults, for everybody. So that's right.
And you can also make movies that kids would actually like. What kid's going to like this movie?
Right, well,
I actually sat near a whole row of 7-year-old girls at the screening, and they were just eating it up with a spoon.
Because they wanted to be Lindsay
Lohan.
They love Lindsay Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan's breasts.
And whether she partied the night before. Okay, Karie.
Much like Herbie at the Wrecking Yard, this film manages to kind of salvage the parts and get the motor running as a serviceable remake. So I'm going to give it 2.5 stars. I think kids 14 and under or so will really enjoy it.
14 under or so. Okay, Doctor.
That was an impressive string of car references.
Let's talk about this new independent film. Yes, Karie, welcome back to the Movie Club.
Thank you.
Saw it. How did you like it?
Well,
wow.
Yes, it's the story of a torrid affair between an American woman and a Middle Eastern man who confront a host of sexual, political, and religious issues. In a most unusual technique, the whole film is an iambic pentameter, which is a really interesting choice. In this clip, which is admittedly hard to watch, we see the lovers in their first encounter.
We'd rather sing than speak. It leaves us free to mourn or to rejoice. Ultimately, there always is a choice.
Hey viewers, you want to see something even more excruciating? Let's watch this next clip.
So we are at war. Oh, you terrorist.
Imperialist.
Bigot. Oh, how did it come to this?
Now, I love independent film with a passion, but one thing I have learned is that just because something is independent doesn't mean it's good. This movie is very pretentious, it's very self-conscious, and it just doesn't work. The iambic pentameter in particular makes the characters so inaccessible, and you just feel so detached from them that you don't care about them and you don't care about what's going on.
I think it's interesting that people try to do interesting things on film, but I believe that this movie is like you. I believe the movie is completely inaccessible.
And I admire the attempt.
Right, like who in the hell is going to connect with this movie? It doesn't make any. It doesn't make any sense.
What do you mean? Who in the hell is going to connect with this movie?
Nobody is going to connect.
Nobody is going to connect this
What do you
movie.
mean nobody's going to connect the movie? You took a poll of every person on the planet, and you can say, you make an absolute statement that nobody.
I think it's good intentions, but pretentious and politically self-defeating. I give it 2 stars.
Karie.
I admire the artistic attempt, but I think the result is painful. 1 star.
1 star. Karie, unfortunately, we got to say goodbye to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Did you have a good time?
The studio has air conditioning, so yeah, this has been great.